and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
If you would all please stand and turn your hymnals to page 2, we will sing Destiny at My Command. Again, page 2, Destiny at My Command. Please remain standing for the purification. Of sharing one with another. We welcome everyone's presence as we strive to be the light of humanity, as we give more knowledge, as we gain more knowledge and truth. We ask for blessings upon the messages bearers and the bridge the worlds between ours and the spirit world. You may be seated. As spiritualists, we have no dogmas and creeds. We are united in our principles. If you would all please turn to the very inside cover of the hymnal, we'll recite the spiritual principles together. Thank you. We believe in intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expressions of infinite intelligence. We affirm that the correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals, and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes proven through mediumship. We now come to the important part in our service, the healing portion. Michelle?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gorgeous fall day. We're so lucky to live in this area. I know it's the end of the leaves, but it still was just a glorious ride. I ride about 20 minutes through the country, and it's just like, oh, it's like. So as we begin our healing service with a prayer for healing, spiritual healing, please turn to the inside back cover of your hymnals, and we will pray aloud together. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and past ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. Now, if you turn your hymnals, remain seated for our healing prayer, our healing hymn, 106. That's hymn number 106. Please sit comfortably, feet flat on the floor, hands and hearts and minds open. Close your eyes if you wish. Relax. This moment is our peaceful pause. This is our respite. This moment is our time for healing. Think of family and friends for whom you wish healing and happiness, embracing them with love. Release all negative thoughts and embrace the radiant health that is within you now. At this time, I invite our healing leaders to please come forward. Anita, Carol, and Barb.
Can you mention that for healing affidavits? Because I can get a healing affidavit in church.
The benches are now open. I'll read from the Healing Book. Jasmine, Sean, Lynn, Mike, Glenville, Scott, Ron R., Paul V. on her transition, Mark, Denise, Zach, Terry, Amy, Chelsea, Brooke, Maya, Jason, Carla, Tammy, Debbie, Wendy, Robert, Blake, Renee, Newell, Ron, Bill, Tammy H., Jewel W., Michelle B., Pat S., Troy M., Wendy, Deborah, the Rolnick family, Robert, Mike P. and family, Brenda, and Haley. Open your eyes gently as you are ready. At this time, we may softly call the names of others who you would like to send healing to for any physical, mental, emotional, or financial problems. We offer blessings to our healers in service this morning, Carol, Anita, and Barb, and to Karen for her beautiful music. Some of our healers are students of the Morris Pratt Institute, and if you received a healing, there's affidavits in the back that you could fill out. It's something that's required to complete their studies. Let us pray. As we conclude the healing service today, let us give thanks for the healings which have taken place in body, mind, and spirit, for each according to their need. Let the light of healing and comfort go across all the lands of the earth to everyone in need of spiritual nourishment, upliftment, and refreshment. We are reminded that we are all healers to our friends, our family, and ourselves. We ask to be guided in the further development of our spiritual nature so that we may become even greater channels of service to others, and that way prepare ourselves for the continuation of our lives in the spiritual realm. Amen.
Thank you, Michelle, for the healings this morning. We now come to an important part of our service, our message, our services. Our speaker today is the Reverend Havivah Richards. She is a divine lady, one that we love dearly in our church here. If you would all please stand and turn in your hymnals to page 155. We will sing In the Garden in page 155.
The
beautiful fall morning. The air is crisp. The husky dogs are shedding all over the place. Recently, this past week, NSAC had their annual convention. And yes, there was good friends, good times, business, and lots of classes. This year, the NSAC Board of Trustees decided to add more classes in the schedule so that people, when they came, not only discuss business, but discuss classes as well. Because part of being a spiritualist is about learning. Some of the topics were very interesting, and some of the topics were a little hard for us to cope with. And one of those topics happens to be on death and dying. And through all the things, we had panels, we went through bylaws rather painlessly, thank goodness. I have to tell you, there's been some years that it's been quite painful. But the thing that got me the most was all the different classes and how people interacted with them. And Sharon Watson, who is our Director of Education, actually did a course on death and dying, but not for the people that were passing, but for the people that were left, which reminded me greatly about what's on the other side. Now, if you're a Morse Pratt student, hint, hint, this is on your test, maybe. What is the spirit world? So when you think of the spirit world and think of spirits, we know spirit is around us all the time. Sitting next to us, this room is full of people. Not only physically, but spiritually. Spirit, yes, we cannot always see them, and I'm still waiting for that full physical manifestation any second. They're still around us. They're in a different vibratory rate, but they still do everything that we do. They learn. They work. They teach. They grieve. And yes, spirit grieves. They grieve not only for their physical body, but they grieve for what they have left behind. Now, while we're on this earth plane, we are building our home on the spirit side, because the spirit side of life, and there's wonderful books for this, The Blue Island by W.T. Steed, and The World Unseen by Anthony Borgia, talks about how there's buildings and hospitals and schools and homes. And if you want to eat something, you can eat something. If you want to drink something, you can drink something. And if you want to be with your friends, you can be with your friends and loved ones. And if you have children on the other side and you finally reach that other side, you can watch those children grow up or go back to when they were little babies or get married or anything else. You can grow with your loved ones. There's fields of flowers where our animals are, where children are, and they're being taken care of by caregivers. There's so much on the other side that is very much like here, but more vibrant. And yes, you get to grow, and you get to learn, and you get to forgive. One thing about spiritualism, and it's a very hard thing to swallow sometimes, is when someone has really hurt you, or you've had hurt in the past by people, it's hard to let that hate go. And one thing to grow, not only on this side, but the other side, is to learn how to forgive, not only the person or individuals that have hurt you, but to yourself. You don't have to forget, but you can learn how to forgive and move on. And sometimes that is probably the hardest thing that we have to do as individuals. Because we not only, sometimes we're hard on ourselves, well, most of the time we're hard on ourselves, but we're also hard on others because sometimes it's part of people's personality. So even though you've had people that have hurt you, and you've had your heart broken, or you've been let down, for you to advance, you have to learn how to forgive. Because we don't know exactly what's going on in that person's mind or life. And so if they're being cranky that day and they say some mean things, maybe they've had a really bad day themselves. And trust me, I've had my heart broken many times, and I've been betrayed and let down. But I have learned to forgive those individuals and move on. And when I learn how to forgive those individuals, surprisingly enough, they go away. They're not around. And I move on. I continue learning. But the most important thing is that it's not just we shed this physical body and then we are a vibratory rate. We continue to grow. We continue to learn. We continue to live. Not physically live, but spiritually live. And there are many different spheres, many different planes of existence. And we come back and we visit our loved ones and our friends, which I plan to do a lot and terrorize them. And help them. And when we grieve, we are grieving over the memories that we had with that individual. We grieve over the memories that we don't have with that individual physically, though they can be with us. So if we go on trips, they are there. If we go through things, they are there. And they grieve as well. They move on. And when you go through, finally get to the other side, which I don't expect you guys to do for a very long time, you walk through that door, and there on the other side are your friends and loved ones welcoming you. As my mother said, she kept on seeing the ticket parade, if anyone knows what that was, where there's little paper falling down from the sky and people welcoming on her, and in her room, and before she passed, I could smell the fresh baked bread that her grandmother used to make, and the soups and stuff. And she goes, "Do you smell that?" And I said, "Yeah, I actually do." And they were there to welcome her. And my mother was a long-time spiritualist. She was raised Baptist. She was a long-time spiritualist. And surprisingly enough, even though being a spiritualist, she was fearful. I think she was fearful of not knowing. She would tell people that there is the other side, and she believed it. But there's always, and that's part of being human, a fear of not knowing what we're going to step into next. And so, The World Unseen is a wonderful book by Anthony Bourgia. It talks about the other side. The Blue Island talks about the Titanic when it went down, and how the people reached the other side and how they were taken care of. They went to hospitals. They had people talking to them. Now that if something happens to them and someone passes away in a car accident or something, they're taken by ambulance to a hospital because you may not know that you passed away, so you still have that hurt, that pain. They help you detach from that, so you're no longer in pain. You're whole. You no longer have sickness. And if you want to look 25 again, you can look 25 again. That is up to you. You can look your best, or you can come back. And that's how we as spiritualists communicate. They come back and they talk to the mediums, or they talk to the individuals. Sometimes they scream at us and we just go on our day. But they're there and they're talking to us. And so they come and they talk through mediums. And how can we describe, now if you've crossed over, and if my mother was 25 again, I would not recognize the woman. Even though she has fiery red hair, she is a power to be reckoned with. I would have not recognized her. She came through a medium that way. So she comes through the way I recognize her. And your loved ones come through the way that you recognize them. But you can be whatever age you want. You can do what you want to do. You continue to grow. And if you want to sit on a beachside drinking margaritas, you can do that too. That is totally up to you. But understand that you continue to grow. You continue to learn. You continue to expand your knowledge on the other side. I knew a lady named Reverend Otzenberger. She was one of my mentors, and I adored that woman. She scared me sometimes, but I did adore the woman. And towards the end, she got very sick. And she got upset one night, and she was going to be flown back home to have some stuff done. And she was very upset about it. And I said, she goes, well, I won't be whole when I get to the other side. And I looked at her and I said, you're a spiritualist. What happens when you cross the other side? She goes, well, you're whole and you're fine. You know, some you're sick. I said, so what's the problem? Believe in it. It happens. It's truthful. It's a fact. Scientifically proven that we communicate with the other side, that there is the continuity of life. And being at the convention this year, it was proven there was a continuity of life. And it was proven when Spirit came through two wonderful speakers and they channeled Spirit. It was very interesting to watch. And I'm always humbled by all the mediums. And then we had students there doing services, and they were fantastic. They put some of our regular mediums and healers to shame. They were fantastic. They did a great job. And we were all very impressed. And we get to meet other spiritualists of like minds. Like natural law says, like attracts like. Of like minds. And they were there and we got to communicate with them. We may not have always agreed with them, but we communicated and we expressed our individualities. And that's what spiritualism is about. Is expressing our our uniqueness. Must have caught Cosey's talk. But the one thing they were there with classes. They wanted us to learn. They want us, the national organization wants us to grow. The educational partners wanted us to learn. And they asked us what we wanted more. What do we want to see? What do we want to learn? How do we want to grow? What did we think of this year's convention? They want to help. And I think that's an important thing, is because as individuals, sometimes we get busy in our lives and we forget. We are here as spiritualists to help one another. We are here as human beings to help one another. Always. Spirit is with us. Spirit is talking to us. And we need to remember that, especially for here, where I bragged about Lilydale. And I bragged about our church and saying how we're growing. I'm watching churches, even if they're slow, they're growing. Maybe one member at a time, but they are growing. And we are opening people's eyes. And that was the most wonderful thing about the convention, is that I saw classes and people were interacting and liked the classes. Now, next year's convention is actually in Rochester, New York. So you all can be there. Learning and growing and expanding. And communicating with people from all over the world, because we had a lady from England there. We have people taking their tests there. And so communicating with people from all over the world is a miraculous thing. And I'll tell you why. Because I had a lady come up to me and she didn't know who my mother was. Until someone said, "Hey, that's Sandy's daughter." She said, "I have to tell you a story. And this is how spiritualism spreads." Her minister at the time in England went to Santa Barbara with a friend. And they were traveling around, and her friend, they had an argument, and her friend abandoned her. She didn't know what to do. She was from another country. She didn't know where she was at. And my mother, she stopped in front of a building, and my mother stepped out and said, "Hi, you look like you're a little distressed. Come in and talk." And she helped her and explained stuff to her and got her through a part of her time that was very low. In that moment where she felt she was abandoned and lost. And the lady traveled back to England. Well, the young lady that came to convention this year went to the church one time and tried to figure out what spiritualism was about. And she told her, "Hey, I had a house in Santa Barbara." She goes, "Oh my gosh, Santa Barbara." She goes, "Let me tell you about a lady." And she goes, "If you see this lady, give her the stone, because she helped me." And so the young lady took it, and at ISF, which is the International Spiritualist Federation, she met up with the minister of Santa Barbara, not my mother, and handed her the stone and told her the story of how a person from Santa Barbara, California, touched a person in England, all the way across the ocean, with just a little bit, "Hi, how are you doing?" And they gave her that gift and said, "Please give it to Minister Sandra Cook, who was there at the time." So just that little "Hi, are you okay?" can spread across the world. Talking about spiritualism can spread across the world. What we can do can touch and change a person's life. And isn't that what we're all about? Thank you very much.
Javi, thank you so much for that. Your heart is so big, dear. We love you so much. Everyone, that's our hobby. We love her with all of our heart.
Yes, we do.
If we could open our heart, that's our hobby right there. We now come to, we now come to the offering part of our service. If we would all, if our usher would please come forward. Great Spirit, we accept these gifts of love that will help us in continuing our offerings to spiritualism. We ask that our blessings upon this gift and those cheerful givers who seek to assist us keep coming to our church, our camp, as a lighthouse for the speakers of truth. Amen.